So these are formulas you all should have seen before: slope, distance, and midpoint. I'm just going to come up with 2 points, and we're going to practice finding the slope, distance, and midpoints of those 2 points. So first point is 0, 3. Second point is going to be 4, 1. So first, let's find the slope. So our slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, the change in y's over the change in x's. In our 2 points, this is our first point, so I'm going to call this x1 and then y1. Remember, x always comes before y. In our second point, I'm just going to call this x2 and y2. Then I'm just going to plug in y2, y1, x2, x1. So I have 1 minus y1 is 3 over x2 is 4 minus x1 is 0. What's 1 minus 3? -2. And 4 minus 0? 4. And can I simplify -2 over 4? What does it simplify to? -1 over 2. So if I were to graph these 2 points, put these on a graph up here. I stay on 0 and go up 3 for my first point. And then the second point, I go to the right 4 and go up 1, 2, 3, 4. If I connect them, a nice line there. I just found the slope of this line. So is the line increasing, decreasing? What do you think? Decreasing. Not only can I see that it's going down when going from left to right, it's decreasing, but also my slope is negative. So whenever your slope is negative, your line's going to be decreasing. If I had a line going up like this, this would be an increasing slope. What if I had a vertical line? What type of slope would this line have?
Undefined.
Awesome, undefined. What about a horizontal line?
0.
0. One way that I remember which one's undefined and which one's 0, undefined has the N that goes like this, and 0 is a Z that's horizontal. So it's just a little trick to help you remember. Any questions so far? All right, next we're going to find the distance. We're going to use the same points up here. Just plug them into our distance formula. So we have the square root of x2, we said was 4, minus x1, which is 0, squared, plus y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is 3, squared. So 4 minus 0 is 4. And what's 4 squared? 16. 1 minus 3 is -2. And what's -2 squared? 4. And 16 plus 4? 20. So we have the square root of 20. Can I simplify the square root of 20? What are some factors of 20? 4 and 5.
Interruption. This message is for any.
What are 2 factors of 4? 2 and 2. So I know if I have a pair, I can take out a 2, and I'm left with 5. So square root of 20 simplifies to 2 square root 5. Any questions here? Anytime you have a square root, just double check to make sure you can simplify it. You need to simplify it. If I couldn't simplify, then I would just leave it. All right, yes?
Are we going to be using
All right, we're going to find the midpoint of the same 2 points. So again, we just plug them in. So my x2 is 4 plus my x1, which is 0, over 2. My y2 is 1 plus my y1, which is 3. So I'm just finding the average of the x's and the average of the y's. Finding the middle of the x's and the middle of the y's. So 4 plus 0 would be 4 over 2. And what does 4 over 2 simplify to? 2. And then 1 plus 3 is 4 over 2. And what's 4 over 2 simplify to? 2. So my midpoint is 2, 2. So my graph of the 2 points up here, the middle of the 2 points would be to the right 2 and up 2. There. All right, so now we're going to be finding the equations of a line with the given information. So there's 2 different types of equations of a line we have. We have y is equal to mx plus b. This is slope-intercept form. Because m is our slope and b is the intercept, the y-intercept. And then our other equation of the line is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. This is point slope form. Because we have a point which would be x1 comma y1 and the slope which is m.
Could you use y2 and x2 in substitution? Does it have to be the y1 and x1?
You could use y2 or and x2 as long as you're consistent. So like for this one, if this is, we'll get to this, but if this is x1, y1, x2, y2, when plugging it into point slope form, you could plug in either point. But let's look at A. So we can either start with slope-intercept form or we could start with point-slope form. It gives us a point and the slope, so we might as well just plug it into point-slope form first. So we can say that our point, this is x1 and y1, and we can just plug in everything we have. So y minus y1 is 7. And that's equal to 2 times x minus x1, which is -1. What happens when I subtract a negative number? What does it become? Positive. So y minus 7 is equal to 2 times x plus 1. So this is point slope form. That's my equation of a line. I also want to find slope-intercept form. Yes.
Oh yeah, well, wouldn't you have to simplify that again?
Yeah, don't you have to distribute the 2 and then move over this -7?
If it asks just to leave it in point slope form, we leave it like this. To put it in slope-intercept form, we can distribute the 2, move over the 7, and make it look like this one. So let's do that. So we have y minus 7 is equal to 2 times x plus 1. Distribute the 2. So 2x plus 2. What should we do next? Add 7. So y is equal to 2x plus 9. So this would be slope-intercept form.
So the one in green is point slope, right?
Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what the problem asks you for. It could either say, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, it could be specific, or write it in point-slope form, or it could just say, write the equation of a line, you would just have to do one. So it just depends on what the question asks. Any questions on A? All right, let's look at B. So here our slope is -3/4, and it passes through the point 3, -2. So for this one, I'm going to do it a little bit different, just so we can see different ways of how to put it in an equation. I'm going to start with slope-intercept form. So I have y, can't really see the pink on here. Let me change the color. Y is equal to mx plus b, so -3/4x plus b. So I plugged in the slope, because that's all I have here. How can I find my y-intercept? How can I find b?
Like it was on the point slope.
I can, but another way. With what I have here, how can I find b?
Plug in x and y and solve for b.
Awesome. This is my x and this is my y, so I can just plug them in and solve for b. So I have -2 is equal to -3/4 times x, which is 3, plus b. So I can simplify. -2 is equal to -9/4 plus b. What can I do next to find b?
Move over the -9/4.
How can I move over the -9/4?
Might know reciprocal.
So just add 9/4 to both sides. Because it cancels out here. -2 plus 9/4. Not fun, but we can make it work. So I'm going to say -9/4 minus 2, and I want my denominators to be the same in order to combine fractions. So what do I have to do to that 2 to make it have a denominator of 4?
-8/4.
Awesome. I would multiply the top and the bottom by 4, so it becomes -8/4. So I have 9 minus 8, which would be 1/4 is equal to b. So all that work just to find what my y-intercept is. So I have y is equal to -3/4x plus 1/4. That is my slope-intercept form. Next, I can find my point-slope form. Since it gave me the slope and it gave me a point, all I have to do is plug it in to this form here, point-slope form. So I'm just plugging everything in. Y minus y1, so y minus -2 is equal to m, so -3/4, times x minus x1, which would be -3. And then I can simplify it a little bit just because I have this minus -2, so it becomes a plus. Now if we started with point-slope form, we can always do what we just did in the first one in part A and just multiply it out, make it look like slope-intercept form. I just wanted to show you the two different ways of finding slope-intercept form. First way is a little bit easier, in my opinion. Any questions on that one? All right, let's look at C. What do we have to do first here? Find the slope. Yes.
Can't you tell that it's undefined by just looking at it since the x doesn't change?
Awesome. Let's find the slope. Yep, you can. So what's our slope formula?
y2 minus y1 over x2.
So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So on the top we get 7 minus 1, which is 6. On the bottom, this becomes a plus. So negative 8 plus 8 is 0. What happens when you get 0 in the bottom of a fraction?
It's undefined.
Undefined. So our slope is undefined. So what type of line do we have here? Is it a vertical line, horizontal line? Vertical. So we have a vertical line here. It's a vertical line through what point? Negative 8. So it's over here. How could I write my equation of this line?
Like x is equal to negative 8.
Awesome. X is equal to negative 8. How do you know it was x is equal to and not y is equal to?
Because it's going through the x-intercept.
Because it's going through the x-axis. So because it goes through the x-axis, we have x is equal to negative 8. Awesome. Any questions? Ready for the next page? All right. Last page. It says write the equation of a line through the given point A parallel to and B perpendicular to the given line. So a line parallel to this one. What do we know about the slope of two lines if they are parallel?
Never gonna touch.
The slopes are the same. They're never going to touch, but our slopes are going to be the same. What about perpendicular? Opposite what? What else? Opposite reciprocals. So opposite reciprocal meaning if I had a slope that was like negative 3 over 4. What's the opposite reciprocal of negative 3 over 4? Awesome. Positive 4 over 3. So one of them is going to be negative. Opposite means that you flip the sign, so the other one would be positive. If you start with a positive, you'd have to make the other one negative. And then reciprocal means that you just flip. Whatever's on the top goes to the bottom. Whatever's on the bottom goes to the top. All right, so we have a line that's 3x plus 4y is equal to 7. What's the slope of this line? Do we know just by looking at it? How do we figure it out?
We change it to slope intercept.
Put it in slope-intercept form. So how can we put this in slope-intercept form? What should we do?
Move 3x over.
Move 3x over. So this would be 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 7. So I just subtract 3x from both sides. I'm actually going to make these not fractions, so just negative 2 and 7. So I'm going to take out the fractions there from the point. So I just changed the point that it goes through. So it's negative 2 comma 7. What do I have to do next to find my slope here? Divide everything by 4. So I have y is equal to negative 3x over 4 plus 7 over 4.
You can move fractions on the top part thing you did before this.
All right, so now that I have it in slope-intercept form, what's my slope? Negative 3 over 4. So if I need to write the equation of a line parallel to this one, what's my slope of a line parallel to this one?
Negative 3/4.
The same thing, negative 3 over 4. And how can I write the equation? Now that I have a slope and a point, what should I do? Can Can I make an equation?
Would you just plug it back into the first one?
Y equals mx plus b?
I could do y is equal to mx plus b, slope-intercept form, or I could just use point-slope form because I have the slope and the point. So y minus y1, so y minus 7, is equal to the slope times x minus x2, x minus x1. So that would be minus negative 2, which would be plus 2. I could rearrange this if I wanted to and put it in slope-intercept form, but it's not specific with the question here, so I'm just going to leave it in point-slope form. So this is parallel. Okay. If I had a line that was perpendicular to this one here, what would my slope of a perpendicular line be? Awesome, 4/3. Didn't even realize the example I gave was the same one here, but it's fine. What should I do next? Plug it in. So I have a point and I have my slope, so I'm just going to plug it into point-slope form. So I have y minus y1. So y minus 7 is equal to my slope, 4/3, times x minus x1, which would be x plus 2. And that's my equation of a line. You could also put it in slope-intercept form, so we could multiply this out. So 4/3 x plus 8/3, and then add 7 to both sides. Yes. And 8/3 plus 7, we would have to make this 21/3. So this would be plus 29/3. So this would be slope-intercept form. And this is point-slope form. So again, you can leave it either way, unless the question's specific and says, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form.